commerce, any kind of business, there's always the capital issue. How much money do I need? Does it actually cost X amount of BD to start? This is the kind of topic we will run around, and then specific scenarios into UniPal, the other kind of business I've started as well. Topic is, as you've read it, how to start a business with minimum funds, and does it actually work? So I'll start off by asking you guys, how much do you think it costs to start a business, or how much do you think you need in terms of amount to start a business? Okay, so a bit of defined range, Khangul. So we have around 100, we have 100 to 200 basic expenses, and we also had Dr. Mohammed, a very good example, starting a business through Instagram, which can be as low as 0. Very good point. So 100 to 500 BD. Now, if I was to say, how much would it cost to start an app? Okay, so put it in the 1,000 range. We'd go with Dr. Mohammed's 3K to 7K, which is about right, depending on the features. Part of the reason why I kind of went ahead with this topic is because you hear a lot of, especially students, fresh grads, talking about how they've always wanted to start a business. And with this current day and age, they wanted to start a mobile application. That's because of the thousands of BD needed. They can't, and they just put the project aside and don't get to start with it. This is something that is, at least to me, that's very sad for someone to not go ahead and start a business because of funds. When we started UniPal, it was just a year after I graduated, so there was barely any funds. It was whatever I saved up from when I worked in Dubai. That was the kind of the capital that we had to put in, and we still went ahead and have gone with it. And then also with another kind of business, which is a sportswear brand, started in Dubai last year. It was also with very, very, very minimal funds, much less than even UniPal, even though it was a couple of years after it. If you ever had kind of doubts about starting with very minimum funds, I know most of the attendees here are students. Never put that kind of capital restriction as your barrier. It is a challenge, 100%, but it's never a deal barrier. So it's never the deal breaker for when you plan to start something. Regardless if you're planning to start an app, or you're planning to start a tech startup, or a retail brand, whatever it is, the starting point should never be stopped because of funds. I'll give you UniPal as an example. So for those that don't know, UniPal started off as a website, and after a year of launching the website, only after a year, we launched the UniPal app. And then after a year of launching the UniPal app, in 2 weeks, we're launching the new UniPal app. So I'll talk about the stages kind of launching stuff. And also I'll talk about, I think you guys attended Mahmoud's session from Platix Labs. So UniPal did get funding. So I'll talk about that. But at the very first start, it cost us about 500 BD to start UniPal in terms of legalities with the CR and Bahrain, and also a website which we refer to as the MVP, minimum viable product. And with that, kind of initiated, the concept of UniPal, of student discounts in Bahrain, and we started from there. So it was 500 BD, split between me and my co-founder, and that was our starting point. There were more costs involved as we went through. About 3 months after we launched the website, got a bit of traction, we went ahead and applied to Flat Six Labs, got the funding there. So as soon as we launched the website, whatever that was spent on UniPal was through investment that was coming outside. Investment coming outside, UniPal did just a quick brief. We did 3 rounds of funding. The first was Flat Six Labs, the second was Tenmu, and the third was Uqal. Uqal Saudi based, we did it to the Bahraini chapter. Now, the reason I'm mentioning this is because there's always that other part of the equation, which talks about how you not supposed to get funding until you get revenue, which was not the case for UniPal. UniPal finished 3 rounds of funding, raising over $300,000 before we were revenue generating. It doesn't really, it would affect maybe evaluation and other small factors, but it wouldn't again affect the ability for you to actually start something. For those that put their answers within the range of 100 to 500 BD, I completely agree. And UniPal is a living example of that. So it's been more than 2 years of us operating, and the start was less than 500 BD. That is one example. There's also the other side where you don't have to get funding and you can operate as you grow. There's this other company based in Dubai that I started with another partner. And what we've done is we've operated for about a year now, and we've only grown by the revenue we've generated. The website haven't launched yet. It was B2B clients, and we decided that we will only launch the website when we hit X amount of revenue. And we started the business with about 300 to 400 BD of getting sampling and sorting out a bit of logistics here and there. But we didn't spend anything on salaries or anything, or something on the side. And alhamdulillah, it's been going very well, and we've kind of grown, let's say, month by month based on the revenue. So whatever the money that came in, we didn't take anything, we put it back in the company. So if you're not looking at that kind of investment approach with angel investors and all of that, then you always have the route of revenue generating yourself, but instead of taking the money, put it back in the company and grow it as you go. Cost for an app and a website would highly differ in itself. يعني one app يختلف وجه عن الثاني due mainly to the features and whether you're building it native or hybrid and all of that stuff. If we take, again, I'll take UniPal as an example because we went through 3 stages of development, technological development. The first was a website, put it at less than 1,000 BD with the updates and everything through running over a year. And remember, the website of UniPal was built from scratch. It wasn't using any of the template builders, Wix, Shopify, WooCommerce, any of those. It was built from scratch. And that's a topic I'll come to in a bit, which I wouldn't recommend you guys starting by building a website from scratch at all. And then we went from that to an app. The app was hybrid to start with. Hybrid معناته you code once and the code splits it into 2, and you have iOS and Android. طبعا this is very high level brief instead of jumping very technical. This was the second stage. That cost us about 4,000 BD for the UniPal app, and that was after Flat Six Labs invested. And then we launched the app, like I said, a year after the website. So that's a cost of about 5,000 BD so far. حزتها throughout the year, we only had 1 full-time employee, excluding my partner, of course, and myself. And then now with the launch of the new app, the reason we decided to go for it two main reasons. One, we're moving into native. So instead of a hybrid coded app, we're going native for a much enhanced experience. And to support certain features, let's say advanced features we want to push out. So this was one of the main reasons. The other main reason is because we got the funding from Aqal. We wanted to really push for the product development. So we didn't just do it to spend money. First, we got backed by the funding, and secondly, we did have a list of features that were going to be better enabled by going native. Natively, who separate coding between iOS and Android. The cost of the second app, we have a technical developer on board, but we had to outsource it because of the load that was incoming. The range, I'd put it between 5 to about 8K. Could go a bit higher with a few features we're still adding here and there. Put it at a cap of 10. But that is considered, let's say, expensive. Best we know that, and having a technical partner really helps out. You can't really put a number when it comes to specific apps or websites. It depends on the features, and it really depends on the features. As you go back to point one, and first and foremost, you never have to start with an app. ما في فكرة في العالم اللي ما يصير اللي لازم تبدأ بأب. حتى Uber, when it started, Uber started with SMS messages, so text messages. That's how they started. And once they kind of seen the flow, seen the traction, then they went on to build the app. And if you see the first version of Uber's app, that's how you kind of grow. So you always have to go with the first version that fits within your budget, that kind of have simplistic features to just push things out, and wouldn't cost you much, wouldn't cost you an arm and a leg, and it cost you much time as well. And then you build on it. And when we launched the UniPal website, we were working on the UniPal app in parallel. But it still took us a year to launch it. But during that year, we were just waiting for the app to launch. We were running completely fine, functional from the website. We had a merchant app going along, and we were going out. It's just that obviously with the app, it eases the user experience and everything. And there's a quote by one of my mentors that, or still is, and he says that website is like dating, and app is like a marriage. So always keep that in mind. When you actually want to go for an app, it's a full-on commitment, not just money-wise, but also work-wise. That's kind of the let's say gist of starting something, and always taking it in stages. I'd like to give kind of, let's say, real life examples to emphasize on the point of starting a business with minimum funds. And خلينا نشيل كلمة minimum, and we actually put it at, let's say, 100 BD. Okay, 100 BD I think is doable to start a business, and then grow it with whatever revenue you generate, or if you don't generate revenue, you raise investment. Regardless, whichever route you want to take, the starting point, بنتكلم بس عن the starting point, which is 100 BD. Now, who here knows about Shopify? Shopify is an e-commerce platform, and habit kind of Shopify and what it brings about with other websites like WooCommerce, like WordPress, like Wix, is basically they built it for non-technical, let's say, founders or people that want to start a business but don't have a technical background. أنا واحد منهم. I have absolute zero coding experience, zero technical experience. When we started UniPal, And when we started the other business was completely built through Shopify, in terms of, the website and everything. So the reason I've asked about Shopify to be specific is because it is extremely user friendly for non-technical founders or business men or women. There's that other kind of barrier where, I want to start a website, I have to pay so much because I don't know how to build a website. I don't know how to code a website. That's absolutely fine. The amount of resources haliyan online, Shopify being one of the main examples of building an e-commerce site, and literally you can put it out in a day without any technical experience, and it costs $29 a month at a basic plan مثلا. ف $29 a month تقريبا 12 دينار if I'm not mistaken. 12 دينار في الشهر. واللي احلى من هاي انه you don't have to pay it immediately. You can pay it once you actually want to start. You build your Shopify site, you put in your products, whatever you want to kind of sell, and then you go and launch it. And when you launch it, then you pay that $29. Shopify is an example for non-technical people, and very, very cheap, extremely cheap. If you're selling a product worth $10, 3 dinar, 4 dinar, sell 3 times a month and you break even with the cost of Shopify subscription. That's one side. If you're looking for a business that is not really e-commerce, or you have a look at Shopify and you don't think it fits you well, still that's fine. You have Wix, you have WordPress, and you have WooCommerce. And then let's say you say, okay, look, I want to create it, I don't have time, and I want to have someone create it for me. Still, that doesn't mean, when you say someone creating it for you, doesn't immediately mean you have to spend thousands and hundreds of BD just to have someone do it. كلش لا. My second question is, who knows about Upwork? Take a real life example again. Now, with the other business, myself, I didn't really have time to go on Shopify, put some nice graphics, fix the user journey, make sure the website runs properly, integrate the payment. And it's minor, it's doable, it's very easy, but one kind of wanted to take it to an elite looking website, and don't want to spend that much time. So what I did was I went on Upwork. Upwork is a freelance platform that, again, doesn't cost you an arm and a leg, and you pick services based on your budget, okay? And services الدنيا والدين. فعلى كيفكم أي شيء that comes to mind you would find there. So researched for Shopify expert, Shopify developer, Shopify this, Shopify that, and finally found someone that حسيت okay, and they did the website in a week, and it cost me about 30 something BD. That includes obviously the full user experience, that includes the payment integration. I did it with Tab payment, and it doesn't cost you anything to set up. They just take a percentage for when you make the sale. All in all, the website, keep in mind, I didn't pay for the subscription yet because I didn't launch the website technically. You put out the website that has been developed and had to customized for your specifications in a week time from someone that is considered a Shopify expert. And then while you're مثلا في حالتكم while you're studying, you can go on Upwork, you can find someone to do the work for you that is considered an expert, that wouldn't cost you much, that fits within your budget. طبعا في ناس that would charge a lot. بس الفكرة ان you define your budget. You have a look at them, they're all very 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 simple to use. والحلو في الموضوع that you can have someone to kind of set the base for you, custom design your full website, and then you edit it whenever you want. So حين because of the website that the kind of had a Shopify developer do it, بس الحين whatever that needs to be changed can be changed by me in a matter of a second. الحين I can go and I can go on the admin page. I can change anything I want, whether it's the navigation, whether it's the content itself, whether it's the images. Anything can be changed in a click of a button now if I go on. And always remember the cost involved. So this is a real life example of, you know, something that costs very little, that looks, at least to me, very nice. And it doesn't even look like Shopify. Nowhere would it say it's Shopify because it was custom designed. Okay, and cheap to start, cheap to build. Shopify, WordPress, WooCommerce, any of those sites, you have someone build it for you, and then you don't need any technical partner to do any edits. So there was one of the comments, I think, من ساعة, and it depends about the salaries of the people you will employ. You can always have a workaround to that. I worked with about 12 designers in the past 3 years, all freelancers, all very, very good, all on project basis. Didn't pay a single salary. It was all project basis. All through Upwork, Behance. Behance is another one. Maybe Dr. Ashraf, you want to add it as well. For if you're not a designer, I'm not a designer myself. Always have to work with someone in design, but I can't work with agencies because they charge a lot, and you don't want to spend that much amount where there's something that is you know, available at a very reasonably friendly priced platform. You always have to kind of look for, you know, resources that fit within your budget, and there always is. There, yani high 100%, there always is something that fits within your budget. Hatta if you're looking at less than, say, $10. Back in university with the society that I was running, there was an event and we needed designs. Okay, and we literally had $10 to spend. We just want a poster. We went on this platform, Upwork. We put the budget at $10. Someone submitted a proposal for $5. We ended up spending just $5 for the poster. والجماعة استعملوا. الجماعة بالهم إن إحنا عندنا ديزاينر وديزاين تيم وحالة. لا، $5 دينارين ما أدري دينار وشوي على design poster. There's also a very popular, let's say, tactic by startup founders that they outsource their social media designs. So social media designs is not considered probably an essential to a lot of founders, and so they don't spend that much money on it, and they end up working with a freelancer wherever based, Egypt, India, Pakistan, Norway, أي مكان في العالم. You have the platform, the world is your dance floor. You work with them حتى بالmonths, بالأشهر, absolutely fine. Charges you nothing compared to any agency that you'd go for. And this is something that I feel is very, very, very important to always note. And you all have the resources available at you online to start at whatever number you guys want to put. If it's 10 BD, put 10 BD. If it's 20 BD, put 20 BD. الفكرة إن you define the number and then you work around that number. If you want to stretch it out, that's fine. If you want to say 100 BD, أنا عندي 100 BD بصرفها في شهرين. Easy. Shopify website, you have someone to do it for you, حتى you don't have to do it. 20, 30 BD, put the budget. And then you don't have to launch it on Shopify until it's ready. And let's say you even launch it. That's $29, which is about 12 BD. هاي كم صرنا 30 دينار. You have someone that creates your social media designs for a month. Hello, so 3 posts a week, say for a full month, that's about, you could get it for $40, say $50 معلي. Again 12 BD 40 لحين ما وصلنا حتى 50 BD. So you have your social media covered, you have a website that is launched, and you take payments on the website because you've done payment integration, and payment integration only charges you when you've actually made a sale. So you have a social media, you have the website, and all could be done in a matter of less than a month with no experience in being technical and building a website, or having a technical partner or a design partner or any sort of kind of skill set in another partner. مو معناته ان just do everything yourself. I'm always a fan of having a partner. It takes a heavy load off your shoulders, and I've always worked with partners. I never worked alone. But الفكرة ان you don't have to have a partner with a specific skill set to start something. I'm only talking about the start. Take you from one stage to another, that's a different game. Kind of the process of getting freelancers, outsourcing your products, because one of the comments also was, if you outsource, it would cost you thousands. Not necessarily, because it depends how you outsource, it depends where you outsource, and it depends on, again, your specific budget, guys. I know most of you are students, and I know how difficult that can be in terms of capital injection and all of that. But it's never a barrier. So I use Canva, but Canva is perfect for those that have no design experience at all, and it's basically as simple as it can be to create nice designs without Photoshop experience, without Adobe Illustrator, all of that. If you have time in your hands, if you want to be a bit creative, so إذا عجبكم معي, then go for it. Why not? There's also another thing, since we're in the topic of these kind of things, just to note out, because you're a student, guys, always utilize and take advantage of it in any of the pricing or businesses that you, or platforms that you use. I hope you all are aware that Adobe has the students packaging. You don't pay, you pay a fraction of the actual price if you're a student, and when you want to buy, you just fill out the form and then you're a student, and you get a fraction of the price. And this is very common with most of the websites online, most of the platforms, Western based طبعا. And inshallah حين يكون بعد MENA region based with UniPal's push. Hopefully you guys get more and more perks and benefits. Do reviews on app stores matter a lot for an application, especially when you're looking for investors? Not at all. So I didn't get a single investor that asked about reviews of UniPal's application on the app stores. So it would, from my experience, no, I don't know anyone that also got asked about this. لا, it shouldn't. Also, investors, when they come in for early stage startups, حاطين في بالهم إن you are early stage, you are still developing, whatever kind of growth you are encountering, it's still, you're not at the growth stage اللي هم يعتبرونه. They're coming in to support, and part of that support goes to product development. Product development is your application, is your website, whichever that is. لا, it wouldn't matter. How much it would cost to add an e-commerce service to our website and link it with benefit and credit card providers? Okay, e-commerce service to our website. If you look at the type of Shopify or how Shopify is done, then you wouldn't have to kind of do anything extra to integrate e-commerce, because Shopify is an e-commerce platform. And for you to link benefit and credit card providers, you have Tap as an example. I use Tap. You have also Sadad as another example. You also have Credimax that would do it. and they all have benefits within them. فالحين مثلا if you go to the website I sent you, and if you go to payment, when you reach the end payment stage, you'd have the option whether you want to put your credit card or a benefit. فbenefit is already integrated with them. They provide you with it. The cost mala, again, it's a percentage. Would go between 2 to 3% depending on different factors, but there's no setup fee, or at least there shouldn't be. Either there is, some might give you a one-time setup fee, that would be very minimal. Should you still go for an idea if you think it won't generate good revenue? 100% or so. Sometimes it's not all about revenue to start with. 2 years running, UniPal haven't generated revenue, be very honest. But we still raised $300,000 and we're still developing the product and we're still going for it. Sometimes the business model side of things could come later. It doesn't have to come straight from the start. You could launch your website, but it could be something completely different than what you initially thought, but you wouldn't know unless you launch. Always start عادي, and you always can pivot. فإذا you start with something with your idea, okay, theoretically it should be me generating revenue by taking a percentage from the tailoring when I link them with the customer. But when you launch, it can be something completely different, and you could find out that okay, you're gonna make so much more money if you just change this to that. It's about you understanding your own product as well. It's a learning journey for yourself, understanding your consumers better, because you always have the saying, what the customers say they want and what they want and what they actually end up buying is 3 completely different things. So if you put the website out for them and then you track, put some metrics, track the process of and the user journey and everything, then you'd get to better understand, okay, this is what they're looking for. Let me take money from this side. Let me add a percentage on this side, and this is where I'll make good revenue. Took 2 days for us to do it on Shopify. So super simple, and the reason it took 2 days, it's not because of Shopify side, it was just because we had to finish some paperwork with TAP, the payment integration company. And once we finished the paperwork, they would send you an API key. You'd put that API key on Shopify on the admin, super easy, super simple, and it'll activate immediately. تكلمون TAP, I put the API key, please activate, done. And you pick the currencies, all of that. We have about, I think we accept 6 currencies, and TAP would do your, so what would happen is that if someone, let's say, pays in dirhams, okay, يدش على الموقع يدفع بالدرهم, pays in dirhams, we'd get it in Bahraini dinars, and the kind of the currency exchange would be done by TAP, and this is an agreement between us and them and all of that. فحتى الفلوس اللي بتستلمها مش ملخص تستلمها بالدرهمز or any other currency, you can choose to just receive it in your bank in dinars. Yeah, but setting up is very simple, very easy. For UniPal, we did it at the start with Sadad. Again, once you have that kind of contract done, then you'd get the SDK. You'd have the technical guys input it fill code, and that's it. So payment is, for me, the easiest part. And from what we've experienced, payment is the easiest part. حطوا آخر شيء. Done. 2 days, 1 week, you're good to go. So how do you deal with shops to give the offers and discounts? It's different from one shop to another, I'd say. But we have, let's say, a contractual based agreement with them, and that they have, for example, one of the packages Malina 2021 is it's free to onboard merchants, shops, because of Corona and everything. خلاص, you come on board, عندكم requirement واحد إن you provide a proper discount for the students. That is one of the, let's say, styles, either you want to consider it like that. From our side, what we tell them is that we are a student-centric platform. we only have students on board, and we're here to obviously support the student community. If they want to join, if they want to kind of help in that, by all means. It helps that we now have a good number of merchants, so above 180. Those coming in now they don't need much convincing لأن they see other big names على قولتهم. فعادي يعني. بس في البداية it was a bit of a struggle. We got a lot of no's, and then a year later they came back for us instead of us going to them. You'd have a lot of rejections عادي كلش عادي. بس yeah, as you grow then they'll come in. When it comes to these kind of platforms where you are more or less the middleman, the most popular or common revenue scheme business model is taking a percentage from the end product. في حالتك مثلا you take a percentage from the physios that are there, and you could also take a percentage for when they complete a transaction within your app. If I'm a patient, I go into your app and I book a physio session. Let's say I book 5 physio sessions. You take a percentage from each session. البرسنتج بيعتمد عليك، بيعتمد على الاندستري، بيعتمد على الماركت. But usually it's a good percentage to classify it as good revenue خلينا نقول. بس percentages always depend on volume. That would be the kind of trick to kind of balance the percentage with the volume.